Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
One introduction. The fighting stopped. A war between Iran and Israel finished. This war lasted for 12 days. Now there is a time of quiet. This quiet is tense. People feel worried about what might happen next. A ceasefire is now in place. This means that Iran and Israel agreed to stop using weapons. No more bombs or rockets are falling for now. But the conflict is not truly over. The fighting has moved from the battlefield to words. Leaders are speaking. Their words are strong. These words can be like weapons themselves. They can influence the situation greatly. People all over the world are listening very carefully. They want to understand the meaning behind the words. What do the leaders plan to do next? The story begins at a crucial moment. The top leader of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is getting ready to make a public statement. He is the supreme leader of the country. This will be his first time speaking to the public since the fighting stopped. People have not heard from him for 12 days since the war began. His words are expected to be very important. They will likely show Iran's view of the recent events and its plans for the future. The entire world is watching this situation closely. News channels are reporting from the Middle East. Governments in many countries are paying attention. They want to know if the ceasefire will last. They are wondering what steps Iran and Israel will take next. The region is very important globally, and problems there can affect many other places. Uncertainty is high. Adding to this complex picture is the political situation in the United States. Donald Trump is now the president of the USA for a second time. The United States is a major player in the Middle East. President Trump has strong opinions and a different way of acting compared to other leaders. His return to the presidency marks a new era for international relations, especially concerning Iran and Israel. People are asking how President Trump will influence the situation. Will the U.S. government support the ceasefire? Will it take a side? What will the U.S. role be? So the world is focused on several things at once. They are watching the ceasefire between Iran and Israel. They are listening for the words of Iran's supreme leader. And they are thinking about the role of the United States under President Trump. The situation is very fragile. The quiet could end quickly. The words spoken now are critical. They could lead to more stability or to more conflict. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is preparing to deliver his message. This speech is not just for the people of Iran. It is for the whole world. It will be the first clear statement from the top of the Iranian government after the war. Everyone is waiting to hear what he says. Will he talk about victory? Will he offer a path to peace? Will he threaten? The answer will help shape the future of the Middle East in this new time. A new chapter is starting. 2. The leader speaks. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, appeared in a video message. It was broadcast on Iranian state television. This was his first public statement since the ceasefire was agreed after the 12-day war. People were waiting to hear his view on the conflict. The leader spoke for more than 10 minutes in the recorded video. He presented the recent fighting as a great victory for Iran. He congratulated the Iranian nation. He said Iran had defeated both Israel and the United States through its actions. He talked about a specific action taken by Iran during the war. Iran had attacked a United States military base located in Qatar. Ayatollah Khamenei said this attack was very significant. He stated that Iran delivered a hand slap to America's face. He presented this as a form of retaliation and a show of strength. He explained that this action proved Iran could reach important U.S. centers in the region. He warned that this specific action could be repeated if Iran felt it was necessary at any time in the future. Ayatollah Khamenei also spoke directly about the attacks made by the United States on Iran's nuclear sites. President Trump had claimed these attacks completely and fully destroyed Iran's nuclear program. However, the Iranian leader strongly disagreed with this statement. He claimed President Trump had exaggerated the level of damage caused by the strikes. He said the U.S. attacks did not achieve anything truly important or significant for them. He also stated that the United States had only decided to enter the war to try and save Israel. He believed Israel was in a very difficult situation and close to being destroyed. But he said even though the U.S. helped Israel, the United States still gained nothing from joining the fight. His speech contained many strong warnings for other countries, especially the United States and Israel. He warned clearly against any future attacks on Iran. He said that if any country showed aggression towards Iran, that enemy would definitely pay a heavy price. He also mentioned the issue of Iran's nuclear program. He suggested that other countries sometimes use this issue as an excuse to ask Iran to surrender to their demands. But he ended his message with a very firm statement: "We will not surrender." This speech was meant to show Iran's strength and firm position after the war. 3. A different story. After Iran spoke, the United States and Israel told a very different story about the war. Their leaders had different ideas about what really happened, especially regarding Iran's nuclear program. President Trump of the United States made a strong claim. He said that the U.S. attack had completely and fully destroyed Iran's nuclear program. He used very powerful words to describe the damage. However, other people had a different view. The head of the United Nations group that watches nuclear programs, the IAEA, spoke about the damage. He said the damage was very, very, very considerable. He also said that saying the program was completely destroyed was too much, but it had suffered enormous damage. Intelligence people in the U.S. also gave their opinion. The head of the CIA said that Iran's nuclear buildings were severely damaged. He thought that Iran's nuclear program was set back by several years because of the attacks. Israel agreed that the damage was big. Israeli intelligence said that the attacks by the U.S. and Israel together had set back Iran's ability to build a nuclear weapon by many years. They believed Iran could not make a bomb soon. Israel's prime minister also spoke. He said the attacks were successful. He believed they had removed the danger from Iran's nuclear sites and its missiles. So there were many different stories after the fighting stopped. Iran said the damage was small. The U.S. president said the program was destroyed. The UN and Israeli experts said the damage was very big and would stop Iran for many years, but maybe not completely destroyed. This made the picture of what truly happened during the war very confusing for the world. 4. Counting the cost. While leaders talk about what happened in the war, people in Iran and Israel are dealing with the results. Life is slowly starting again in Iran after the 12 days of fighting. Shops are reopening and people are going back to work. The airspace is also reopening, which is important for travel and business. A spokesperson for a ministry in Iran, Majid Akhavan, said the airspace for the eastern half of the country was open again. This is for flights inside Iran and flights coming from other countries. Planes flying over Iran can also use this space now. Traffic is back on the streets in the capital city, Tehran, and shops are open. But the biggest cost of the war is the human cost. Iran reported that over 600 of its people were killed during the conflict. They also said that thousands, more than 5,000, were wounded. A human rights group gave different numbers. This group said the number of deaths in Iran was much higher. They reported that at least 1,054 people were killed. The group also gave details about who died. They said 417 of the dead were civilians, people not in the military, and 318 of the dead were from the security forces. So the total number of people killed in Iran is unclear, but it is a high number. Israel also had casualties. According to officials in Israel, dozens of people were killed, at least 28. More than 1,000 people were wounded in Israel. These numbers show the sad reality of the war. The ceasefire stopped the bombs and missiles, but the pain and loss continue for many families. While leaders talk about their different stories of the war, the people remember the cost in human lives. The return to normal life is a slow process, marked by the absence of those who died. Shops opening and planes flying are small steps towards the future, but the numbers of killed and wounded are a strong reminder of the violence that happened. The war was short, but its cost was very high for the people who lived through it. 5. Talk of peace. Amidst the difficult situation, a small sign of hope appeared. President Trump of the United States made an announcement. He said that American and Iranian officials would meet soon. He stated they would have talks next week. This news brought a little hope for peace after the recent war. President Trump spoke about these possible talks. He described them as simple. He suggested that it would be easy to reach an agreement quickly. President Trump believes that the attacks by the U.S. and Israel severely damaged Iran's nuclear program. He thinks the program is now completely destroyed. Because of this belief, he feels there is not much difficult negotiation needed. He thinks Iran will just agree to the terms the United States proposes. However, Iran has not confirmed these talks. They have not officially agreed to the meeting that President Trump spoke about. This lack of confirmation from Iran makes the situation uncertain. The leader of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, recently gave a speech. His words were very strong. He said that Iran had won the war. He also gave warnings to the United States. He made it clear that Iran would not surrender. He said Iran would not simply accept everything the U.S. wants. These strong statements from Iran's leader create difficulty for the potential talks. President Trump believes the meeting will be straightforward. He thinks Iran is ready to agree because he thinks their nuclear power is gone. But the leader of Iran says something different. He says Iran is powerful and will not surrender. He says the nuclear program was not destroyed as much as the US says. So, the United States and Iran have very different ideas about the situation and about the possible talks. President Trump sees a quick meeting leading to a simple agreement. He believes Iran will accept US demands, but Iran's leader sounds like a winner. He does not sound like someone who is ready to give up or change Iran's position easily. This difference in views means the talks President Trump mentioned might not happen, or if they do happen, they could be very difficult. It is not clear if Iran is truly ready to negotiate right now. Especially, it is not clear if they are ready to discuss their nuclear program in the way the US wants. The future of these talks is not certain. There is some hope because President Trump talked about a meeting, but there is also worry because Iran has not confirmed it. And the strong words from Iran's leader show that Iran has its own strong opinions and demands. They do not sound like a country prepared for a fast and simple agreement. So, while there is talk of peace, the path to it is not clear. The two sides have very different ideas about the war and the future. President Trump sees a quick deal possible. Iran's leader sees strength and victory. These different views make any meeting hard. People are waiting to see what will happen next. Will the talks take place? What will they discuss? Can these two sides find a way to talk about peace when their starting points are so far apart? 6. A president's words. President Trump posted a message on a social media website. This message was very surprising for many people around the world. He wrote about the leader of Israel, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu. Mr. Netanyahu is the Prime Minister of Israel. He holds a very important job in his country. In Israel, Mr. Netanyahu is facing a court case right now. This court case is about corruption. When someone is accused of corruption, it means they are accused of using their power in a wrong way, maybe for personal gain or by breaking laws. This is a serious legal matter in Israel. President Trump wrote strong words about Mr. Netanyahu and the court case. He said that Mr. Netanyahu was a great leader during the recent war between Israel and Iran. He called him a great wartime prime minister. President Trump said that Mr. Netanyahu was a strong person. He said he was a warrior. President Trump praised Mr. Netanyahu's actions. But President Trump did not like the court case that Mr. Netanyahu is facing. He said the court case was not fair at all. He used very strong language to describe it. He called it a ridiculous witch hunt. This phrase means that he believed the court case was unfair and was only an attempt to harm Mr. Netanyahu for political reasons. President Trump clearly stated his opinion that the trial was politically motivated. He said it was a horror show. President Trump then suggested what should happen with the court case. He said that the case should stop completely. He suggested it should be canceled. He also suggested another possibility, that Mr. Netanyahu should receive a pardon. A pardon is when someone is officially forgiven for a crime by someone in power. After these statements, President Trump wrote something that many people found very unusual and surprising. He posted the words, "The U.S. will now save Benjamin Netanyahu." This sentence was very direct. It seemed to promise that the United States, led by President Trump, would help Mr. Netanyahu with his problems in court in Israel. This type of statement is not common. It is very unusual for the president of one country to talk about the legal problems of a leader in another country. It is also unusual for a president to suggest that a court case in another country should be stopped or canceled. Each country usually has its own independent legal system. President Trump's words were seen as a significant intervention. They showed how much President Trump supports the Prime Minister of Israel. They also showed his strong belief that the court case against Mr. Netanyahu in Israel was wrong and unfair. This message from the U.S. president was a notable event happening at this time. It highlighted the close relationship between the two leaders. It also raised questions about one country interfering in the legal matters of another. 7. The nuclear question. A new problem came up for the idea of peace talks. Iran's government body, called the parliament, made a decision. They want to stop working with the International Atomic Energy Agency, known as the IAEA. This is a group from the United Nations. Its job is to watch nuclear programs in different countries. They check that countries are using nuclear power only for peaceful reasons, like making electricity, not for weapons. Iran has worked with the IAEA for many years. This work is part of an international agreement about nuclear programs. Countries that agree to this treaty let the IAEA visit their nuclear places and check them. In return, they have certain rights under this agreement. Iran believes the IAEA did not help them during the recent war. Iran's nuclear places were attacked by the United States and Israel. These were places that the IAEA watched. Iran says the IAEA did not protect these sites. They also say the IAEA did not say anything bad about the attacks. Iran feels that the IAEA did not follow the rules of the international agreement. Some people in Iran think that information or statements from the IAEA were used against them. They believe that things the IAEA said might have been an excuse for other countries to attack their nuclear sites. Because of this, Iran's parliament wants to stop the cooperation. They feel the IAEA asks a lot from Iran, but does not give Iran its rights under the treaty. This decision by the parliament makes things very difficult. President Trump said that the United States and Iran would have talks soon. A main topic for these talks is likely to be Iran's nuclear program. But if Iran stops working with the group that watches the program, how can talks about it happen? It creates a big question mark over the possibility of peace talks and finding a way forward on the nuclear issue. 8. An uncertain future. The war finished, but many difficult questions remained. Nobody was sure what would happen next. The future felt uncertain for everyone in the region. Iran said they won the war. Their leader claimed it was a great success. But the country suffered much damage. Buildings were hit and important places were hurt. The government said more than 600 people died in Iran. They also said thousands were injured. Another group said the number of dead was even higher, more than 1,000 people. The United States and Israel also said they won. They said they stopped Iran's nuclear program. The U.S. president said it was completely destroyed, but not everyone agreed. The head of the group that watches nuclear programs said the damage was very, very big, but maybe not completely destroyed. Even Iran's government said their nuclear places were badly damaged. So the real state of Iran's nuclear program was not clear. There was talk about peace. The U.S. president said officials from the U.S. and Iran would meet soon for talks. This gave some people hope, but Iran did not say yes to these talks. It was not clear if they were ready to meet, especially after their leader spoke strongly against the U.S. Another problem appeared for peace talks. Iran's parliament made a decision. They want to stop working with the group that checks nuclear programs. This group is part of the United Nations. Iran said this group did not protect Iran's nuclear places when they were attacked. This decision could make it very hard to talk about the nuclear program in the future. The situation was not strong or stable. Both sides claimed victory, but both suffered losses. The true condition of Iran's nuclear abilities was unclear. The chance for talks seemed possible, but also had big problems. The path to a lasting peace was very difficult. Many things were still unknown.